Good afternoon, guys. I almost said good morning, just because that's when I'm used to starting my videos. So, just got home from work. I think it's about 5 p.m. and I'm down here at the Ohana, and I'm going to just continue to get the very last thing of the electrical done, which is putting the grounding rods in. So, I'm going to try and get one of those in tonight and get the copper, the 6-gauge copper wire attached to it so that I can at least turn on power to the Ohana. So it's been quite a while, obviously, since I had a video, another month or I don't know, maybe even 6 weeks. Just busy, haven't really worked on the Ohana at all. I've been meaning to come down here and get these grounding rods in. Had a bunch of stuff happen. One of my friends here in Hawaii passed away, and on the same day my father passed away. So I had to go back to mainland for that, and then also, with my friend here that passed away, helping his wife and everything. So there's been a lot going on, and then I still, was trying to work when I could in between all that. So yeah, I'm just now getting back to working on the Ohana. So let me get over here and get set up and get started on these grounding rods. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get to work. So I recently rewired all this. When I ran power down to here, which basically powers this outlet and then powers these lights that turn on at night, I went off of another, I got Freya watching me just far enough above the gate that she can see me. So anyway, when I had pulled power from the house down, I went off of an external outlet that was on the corner of the house up there, which you can just barely see. Come to find out, that external outlet was actually linked to the GFI in one of the bathrooms, which was linked to the other bathroom. And I found this out because it tripped one time. These lights were out and I couldn't figure out why. And then I figured out the lights in the bathroom were out too, and they were all on the same GFI. So I since then, since I had added more circuits to my panel inside the house, I had a couple free that weren't going to anything. So I ran a dedicated line with a 20 amp circuit to that external outlet. I replaced the external outlet, and then that was also tied into this external outlet and these lights. So now I have a dedicated 20 amp circuit that basically comes to these external outlets and lights. Anyway, let me walk over here. I gotta untangle this cord. See how much weeds have grown, which is just ridiculous. So, as was shown in the last video, I'm pretty sure, wow, this is a huge raspberry bush right here. The copper wire, which I can't see it in there. It should be somewhere right here. It's right inside here. I fed everything through the floor, and I think there's about 35 feet of it. So what I plan to do is to pull it out here. I'm going to try to put this copper ground in somewhere over here, and the 6-gauge wire has to remain continuous. So it'll basically run through the clamp that goes on the grounding rod, and then it'll go to the next one. And then the next one, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it over on this side or if I'm going to take it back over this way. But in Hawaii, it's a requirement to have 2 grounding rods. And I was speaking to an electrician that's been working on the house that I've been building, because I started doing the electrical rough-in. And I guess the reason behind that is because a lot of people here, since it's rock, they will drive it in as far as it goes, which could be 2 or 3 feet only, and then they'll cut it. So by code in Hawaii, you have to have 2 grounding rods so that hopefully you'll have 8 feet total, I guess. So we'll see how I do. But yeah, look at this raspberry bush. Some nice ones. I've eaten these before. They're pretty good. Just wild raspberry. This bush has gotten huge though. And unfortunately I'm gonna have to cut it back, but nice little snack. Because I will have I plan to pour cement back here, and I'm gonna have probably about a 3-foot sidewalk that goes all the way to the corner of the ohana over there. And the reason for that is I plan to put my propane tank back here, so we will have a propane hot water heater and we will have a propane stove. So the propane tank for that is going to end up being back here. And I want to be able to have a sidewalk where I can roll it back here, put it there, attach it to the wall, hook it up, you know, and then have propane for the house or for the ohana. That's another day. So let me go in the ohana and grab the grounding rod and then get this thing plugged in and then see how we do. Okay, so this is the 6-gauge copper wire I was talking about. It goes through the floor and it's just coiled up underneath the ohana down there. So that is tied in here to my grounding strip, and then also goes through to the 3-way switch that's outside to ground everything out there. And then of course connects to all the grounds. So you might look at this and say, why is this not here? Because normally when you're wiring up a panel, all of your grounds would be here on this rail. And then your neutrals and then your hots or the blacks would all go into all the breakers. So since I'm pulling power from the house, you can only have the grounds on one of the panels, right? So otherwise you create I believe it's called a ground loop, something like that, which can be bad because it doesn't, like, it's not a good enough ground, I guess. So I think it can cause fires or something along those lines. I don't know exactly the reason, but the electrician that was, you know, telling me how to wire this up told me to get a separate one for this box. I will have to do the same thing in the shop because the shop will eventually be wired off of the house too in the meantime until I get a solar system out there. So anyway, that's there. I have the grounding rods here. That's my little pounding piece that goes into my hammer drill. So let me see if I can get this going. All right, so back outside I have the piece of my hammer drill, and this is basically just a cup. So this is made specifically for grounding rods. I'm hoping that it works. So what I'm gonna aim for is I'm gonna kind of go at the base of this tree. This tree's already dead, and I actually already cut off the top because it was kind of too close to the roof when I was originally building the ohana. The electrician that's doing the power at the house where I'm working on, he said the grounding rods can actually go in at a 45-degree angle. So for this first one, that's what I'm going to shoot for. I'm hoping that the roots of this tree, because this is a pretty good sized tree, have broken up the rocks in here and I can get in there. So let me see what I get done. Okay. Man, sweating. At least it's like evening and it's not that hot, but still sweating. Okay. So as you saw in the back, that just wasn't happening. So I went around to the front and I kind of took advantage of that 45-degree angle because I already have a slope up there. So I drove them in. Let me switch the camera. So I drove them in at the 45. This is, so you can see some backfills already happened, but eventually this is all going to get backfilled. And it's going to be up to the height of this right here. So when that comes out, this one will be probably 6 feet in underground. And that one's even further in, so it'll be more like 7 feet. So that should give me 12 to 13 feet underground. So I think that should be good enough. I mean, I'm going to leave them for now. I'm going to connect my clamps and connect the ground and everything. Because right now, like this one, the bottom, probably only 2 to 3 feet is actually in the ground. Whereas this one, it's got a good 5 feet that's in the ground. But I think that's good enough to get it hooked up for now. And like I said, once this gets backfilled, then I should definitely be good. So I could turn on the power. I could turn on the power right now, obviously. The issue with not having a ground rod is there's nowhere for any kind of discharge to dissipate. And I gotta go under here to get that copper wire. There's nowhere for any kind of discharge to dissipate. So much weeds. So what that can do is it can cause things to heat up and could potentially catch fire. Doesn't necessarily mean there will be a fire, but there's a possibility of a fire. So that's why you have your grounding rods. So let me get under the house and get this thing ran out here, and then we'll get it clamped on, and then I'll get power turned on. All right, so this is the little clamp. The way this thing works is it slips over the grounding rod, and then you have I have my copper wire pulled out. So the copper wire goes where this little kind of point is, so that when it pushes, you tighten the bolt, it pulls it in tight to the copper rod. So basically you run your copper wire through this from one to the next. So it needs to be a continuous wire. All right, so something like that. I'm gonna leave these long for now. And then once this gets backfilled, if this needs any adjusting, like I need to move the copper wire up, because when this comes out, when it comes out from here, it's gonna be pretty close to where it's attached right now. So I may need to move it up a little bit. And then at that point, once I get the final height, I'll cut off the excess. Ohana power on. All right, so the breaker in the house is on now. So this disconnect or three-way switch, as you can see, is in the middle position, which is off. I'm glad I checked that, because I realize now that I didn't put that ground in there. Okay, I gotta do that real quick. All right. So those are all connected together on the grounds. This is all live. So again, I will give my little disclaimer. If you are not comfortable working on electrical stuff or confident that you know what you're doing, then please hire someone to do it. I'm not 100% sure that this is even required for this. It was just, in my mind, an easier way to tie all these grounds together. I'll probably come back later and actually attach this to this box So this box does not have anywhere for this. This is actually made to go in a breaker panel. So for now, this is how it will all be connected. So let me get this folded up and put away, and we'll get this switched on and then go into the breaker panel. All right, so that's tucked out of the way. It can't come into contact with anything up here that's live, so close this up. And this can be locked if you want to. So for grid power, this needs to go down. This will eventually be for solar power when I get solar someday down the road. I have no idea when that's going to be. But in the meantime, grid power. And that's it. So we have power to our panel now. Okay. So this is a really scary situation for a lot of people, having a breaker panel with the cover off that is live. So of course I'm going to put this cover back on, but I want to get some of these breakers turned on so that I actually have light in here because it's starting to get dark. So I'm only going to turn on a couple of these, which is basically, I'm going to do the lanai lights and the up lighting because that's the only two things that I really use. So that is this one and this one. So I should be able to switch this stuff on now. Hey, there we go. We have lights. And living room fan there. Okay, I think that one needs to go on, but this light only comes on once it gets dark. There's a sensor. There we go. So as soon as I cover the sensor, then the light turns on. So, okay, now back to this. I'm gonna get this cover put on. I have to break out all of the slots for the breakers that I have occupied because I haven't done that yet. So if you open this up, if I can do this one-handed. So, see, I gotta break all these little tabs out and then I'll get that put on. So I'll be right back. And pow. We're done, I guess. Okay. Whew. Okay. This is a really short video. I know I didn't do much in this video. I just wanted to get something out because my videos are so infrequent lately, as you all know. So the house that I'm working on building over Kona side, we are getting very close, should I say, to it being done. We're probably within a month to at longest 2 months, I guess. But we're getting to the point where we're starting to button things up. Today we poured all the landings for the stairs. All of the lanais all the way around the house have been built out, so we'll start doing the stairs. Like I said, the electricians and plumbers have been there last week and this week. They will be done by either this week or at latest into next week. Once they are done, then we can get our inspections, final structural inspections, electrical and plumbing inspections. And then we can start closing up the house. So this house, as it was written in the contract, we are not taking to fully finish. So we are fully finishing the exterior, building, framing the house, roofing, all of that stuff. We're doing drywall on the inside, and then that's pretty much where we're done because the owner wanted to do the finishing himself or theirself. Whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know. We may end up giving them a new bid, going back and doing finishes as well. I don't know. But we're kind of at the point where we're wrapping up that house. So anyway, the whole reason for that explanation is that in between finishing up this house and starting the next house, I'm going to be taking like a month off of work. And during that time, I'm going to focus on the Ohana. This has been long overdue. I think I just passed 1 year. I think it was July last year when I poured the footings. I'd have to go back and double check that. It might have been June, but I think it was July when I actually poured the footings. So that's been 1 year essentially that I've been working on this, which is way longer than I was expecting it to take. And even though I am, I guess, in the final stretches on the Ohana, there's still a lot of detail work that needs to be done. So now that the electrical is in effect completely done, of course, there's still, closing out switch plates, all that kind of stuff that's going to get done. Mounting lights, like these lights in the kitchen, that kind of stuff. But that's all simple stuff that happens, when the drywall goes in. So my focus now going forward is I'm going to start doing all the plumbing. And then once the plumbing is done, then I could complete all of the drywall, get this entire place drywalled, and then it'll be mudding, painting, because I still have to paint, like in the living room, and then also up in the loft. All of these beams have to be painted. All of the other wood, additional wood, has to be painted. That kind of stuff, boring detail stuff. And then the other thing that I'm going to start working on very soon, probably immediately following the plumbing, is getting the lanai built. So I'm actually going to be going this week to order the Trex, which is what we want to use. That's what we, when I built the lanai on our house, that's what I used. It's an awesome product. It's guaranteed for like 25 years. I don't have to worry about sanding it and stripping it, restanding it every 2 years or whatever, like you do for wood. So we're going to go with Trex for the Ohana as well. The deck is going to end up being approximately 16 feet along the front of the house, and it's going to go out 12 feet. Down the road, it will wrap around this side of the house because I do want to put a outdoor shower basically on the same wall that the shower in this bathroom is going to be. But that's not going to get built at this point. Right now, what we're trying to do is to get this thing finished so that we can rent it or start renting it. And my goal is to have this completely done and rentable by the end of the year. Which I'm actually hoping, before that, but I know how things go and I know how busy I get, which I think I kind of explained in the video before. I was doing 10-hour days at the other house over there. That equated to about 60 hours in 4 days. And then I was doing foraging and prepping stuff, doing laser work now for the farmer's market. So I was doing that on Fridays and Saturdays, and then we were at the farmer's market all day on Sunday. So that's why, because of that busy schedule and then all the stuff that's happened in the past 6 weeks, family-wise, whatever, haven't gotten a lot done. I haven't worked on the Ohana, I don't think, really at all. So now there's some neighbors talking and my dogs are barking. Anyway, my point is, because I'm just rambling now, is that I will be working on the Ohana again soon, and I want to get this thing wrapped up. So this video is very short. I didn't do much, just explaining kind of what's going on and what's happening. I got a little bit done, which I'm happy with that for now. I'll take what I can get. So that's it. I just want to say thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being patient with me. I know I'm not getting videos out as often as I was previously, but this is all building towards, a goal. So I will see you guys on the next video. Hopefully it'll be much sooner, and I will talk to you then. Aloha.